Hey Minecrafters, Nick here with another Minecraft tutorial. Today what I want to show you is something called the Shulk-a-sorter. And I'm standing around in this room where I have my continuous auto brewing system and the Shulker brewer because right in front of me is what I call the Shulk-a-sorter. And this is just one of the sort of newfangled sorting machines that allows you to fill a shulker box or a chest. If you want to keep chests here, you can do that instead. With multiple items and then have things sort out properly. You can see here we've got 25 nether wart. If we come along here, put another 16 nether wart in the chest, the light comes on to tell you it's doing something. This light will begin blinking to let you know that items are being delivered into the chest or the shulker box, and it just goes through and sorts out everything you want. Over here, if you take well, let's take all of them aside from one. If we come back over here and drop those bricks in, you're going to see in just a second those bricks will start getting delivered right back here. They'll go through the first slot, the second slot, and here we go. They're getting sorted out. So this is a nice little machine that just allows you to fill a chest with a bunch of items. If you don't want to take the time to sort of manually go through and sort them all out. And one of the nice things about this machine as well is that you can just walk up to a shulker box, you can push the button on the bottom, it pops out, you can take it with you, put it back when you're done, and you're ready to go again. Now, I've tried to simplify this as much as possible. I've tried to make it absolutely bulletproof, and the only problem that I found with this particular sorting machine is that if you run out of render distance and you allow the chunks to unload while the machine is running, it can cause problems. So best advice is if you're going to use a machine like this, just make sure that it's kind of in your base. While you're working, you might even want to hook up some kind of a chime so that when this box empties, you'll hear the chime and you'll know that you're safe to run away and go off and do other things. But if you're sticking around your base, you shouldn't have any problems with this. This is a pretty nice little design. It's pretty compact and I'm fairly happy with it. And to be honest, I'm surprised that I haven't seen something exactly like this before. I'm surprised I'm the first person I know that's come up with it. But let's head off to a creative world so I can show you how to build this. Okay, here we are in a creative world, and let's just get right to it. The first thing that you need is to put down a dropper facing forward, because that's going to be where you're going to put the shulker boxes. And you could put down a couple of these. Let's say 2 stations for the beginning, because each one of these stations is completely self-contained. You can put as many or as few as you like, and because they're self-contained and they're not wired to each other, you can also kind of go around a corner and make a U-shaped room, maybe with 3 or 4 per side, depending on how many shulker boxes you want to have and how long you want to wait, because these sorting systems are not the quickest things in the world. They're fairly slow, but they prevent you from having to worry about placing everything yourself. Now, to make this work, what you want to do is for each one of these stations, well, let's just do one station to begin with. Okay, so you put down a hopper facing forward, a dropper facing forward. Right next to it, you put a dropper facing up, and then here we're going to need some temporary blocks just to orient our hopper. Put a hopper facing into that block, we'll break those, and a hopper facing into there. So that's the beginning. Now, what we want to have is we want to have items go into here. We want to have them try to insert into the shulker box or the chest, and then if they don't go in, we want to have them go down here, go over, up, and over to the next station so they can try again right here. And I think the easiest way to do this is like this. We'll just break out 6, 7 blocks right there. I'm going to put down 3 blocks just so that I know that these are my redstone blocks in this case, so that I know that if I'm digging from below and I find one of these bricks, don't break it because there's redstone on it, and I think that's a great idea. So all we have is we have a repeater facing backwards and 2 bits of redstone on there, and we're just going to cover those up with bricks. Pardon me. And once those are covered up, all you need now is just to put a comparator right there, and that's the first part. Let's time set day. We'll do that. Sorry about all the commands I have going in there. Anyway, what that does is it makes it possible for you to drop something in, and it will just get shot out into this upper item hopper here. Now, but you'll notice if we put in 16 items, only the first item will go up, and the rest of them will just stay there. So that just goes to show you it's very important that you throttle the speed with which things come through the system. But that's the first part. The second part we need to do is break out 4 bricks. We'll put 4 down, and right here we're going to put a repeater set on 2 ticks. Back here, we'll put a repeater set on 1 tick. In between those, we put a brick. And behind there, we just put a single redstone. And now behind this dropper, we want to put another brick. And on top of here, we want to put another brick. Then we'll put another comparator right there. And to reverse that, I don't have any torches. Where's my torches? I will do this. Actually, no, I want that, and we'll do it that way. Okay, so we put a torch here. Now you'll notice that what that does is it locks up this hopper while there's nothing inside this dropper. But if we put something inside this dropper, we just put one of those, it'll fall through and end up over here. So that's pretty much how the system works. Now you might be wondering, how do we get it to actually try to insert into the shulker box? Well, because we have 1, 2, 3 or 4 ticks of delay there, all we need to do is just come on top. We'll put a brick there, a brick on top of that. We'll put 1 repeater facing forward, and then some redstone dust right there. And what that does, we can demonstrate it just by putting something in here, and it'll just get fired out. So if you had a shulker box there, it gets fired out. If it takes a little too long to get fired out and doesn't get fired out, then this releases and it drops through to the rest of the system. So that is essentially one module done. And you can either place a redstone lamp. You can place a redstone lamp here at this height, or if you want to, you can put one at that height as long as you have a redstone dust there. It just depends on how you want this to look. Sometimes I like having stairs on top and below. I'll just use a purple stair here. It's the first one I saw, and I'm going to put one there. I'll break this out and put a sticky piston with another purple stair right there, and then in front of that we can just put either, I would suggest a button, but if you don't want to use a button, you can use a pressure pad, so you can just walk up to it, and what that'll do when you hit that is it will just break whatever shulker box you have. So let's see, if I get a shulker box, I can't type on my keyboard, but we'll put a black shulker box and we'll put it right here. So if you have a shulker box there, when you're done, you can press the button, it'll break it, you can grab it and go. So that's kind of one module done. And once again, you'll notice if we put something in here, the light will blink. I hope you got a chance to see that. The light will blink. It'll be in here because the shulker box is empty. But we can load this up with, let's say, redstone. Now, all we need to do to sort of further show how to make this work, you need 2 hoppers to go in. Now, just for the heck of it, I'm going to do the same thing, build another module right here. So we just have to have one facing up, one facing forward. We'll put a hopper in here, a temporary brick right above here, so we can have our hopper facing the right way. And that's the beginning. So same thing here, guys. Same thing exactly. Just break out these bricks, drop in 3 bricks so you know the redstone's there. Dust, and then a repeater set to the just regular 1 tick delay, and we'll cover all 3 of those up. And then we put down our comparator in the middle, and once again, that does the same thing. You put something in there, it gets shunted up to the hopper above it. And then all we need to do is break out 1, 2, 3, 4, and then replace those. Same thing, it's the repeater at the front is set to 2 ticks, the repeater at the back is set to 1 tick, there's a brick in the middle, and then some redstone dust there. And then we'll just start doing the next layer, where we just put these things down. We're going to have a redstone torch there. We're going to have some dust on top. And then right here, we want to put our other comparator. And then to have that actually activate, we're going to back up a little bit. We'll do the same thing. We'll do the exact same thing here. And because I want to have the lights a little higher, I'm going to put redstone dust there and then just, can I do this? There we go. Okay, perfect. Perfect. And, same thing, just to make this look nice, we'll put those there, grab another shulker box, put it there. So in this shulker box, let's say we had, comparators, because I've got those in my hand. So it's the exact same thing, guys. If you put 1 redstone dust in here, it's going to end up in this shulker box. And over here, you see just 1 comparator. If we put a comparator in there, it will blink the first time, blink the second time, and now it's in the shulker box. So that's how the Shulk-a-sorter works. It just continually moves items through each module until it reaches the end. Now, you might want to have, at the very, very end, depending how you want to make this look, You might want to put something like this here so you can have your output chest, which would house any items that are not sorted out by the system. They'll just appear in that chest there. And over here we want to put the input. So we'll put a chest here for input. So this is where items go in, and this is where items come out. We'll put, let's say, we'll put a lamp here to indicate that items are there. We'll put a lamp over. We'll put a lamp over here to indicate that there's items going in. And that's kind of the beginning of the whole thing. And I'm just making this with 2 stations because, you know, you can just continue to repeat stations all the way down and you'll have the exact same thing. Now, the important thing to keep in mind here is that although this system works great, if you fill up this box and put in too many items, it will break. Just because it needs to be throttled. We need to make sure that we don't put too many items through at once. It's got to go at just the right speed to make the whole thing work. So to continue on from here, I'm going to put 2 of those, 2 bricks right there, and I will put a redstone torch underneath this hopper. And that's going to allow us to put items in here, and they won't go until they're told to. So that's what that does. Now, to make sure that things get throttled, we need to, first of all, let's go over here, get ourselves a half slab, because we're going to need a half slab right here. Half slab's very important right here. It will not work if you don't put a half slab right there. And on top of that half slab, we want to have a comparator to read the contents of the chest. That's going to read the contents of the chest into this brick. That brick is going to put the power down. We're going to put a repeater here, another brick right here, a couple more bricks here. We just fill this in a bit. So that's about the space that we'll need. So to make the clock that will drive this whole thing, you need a comparator. You need another repeater set to 3 ticks. Next to that, a repeater facing the other way, just at 1 tick. We can put down some redstone dust and set this comparator to negative mode. And what that'll do is that'll make a clock. So anytime there's something inside this chest, doesn't matter what's in there, 1 item, more than 1 item, it makes a 4-tick clock. And you can see we can read that. So let's get rid of those items and continue on. Now, to make these items go through at the right rate, we need to only release this hopper for just a tick or 2 because we don't want 2 items to come through at a time. So to make a pulse shortener here, I will just do a little trick with a trailing edge detector. And what that will do, set this repeater here to 2 ticks and put redstone dust there. And what that will do for you is this will throttle the items and only allow 1 item to go through the hopper chain every 4 ticks. And that's really important because that's what drives the whole thing. So right now, we should be able to put in, let's see, if we put in, I don't want to have to wait too long, but I'll put in, let's say, 8 repeater, or 8, I can't even count. I'll just put in 8 comparators here. That'll give us 10 in the first slot so we know that everything's working great. The light comes on, says it's going. Items begin filtering through. Nothing's going to go in here because there's no room for comparators. And over here, once we get the 10th comparator out, then the machine is done, the light is off, and everything is good. But if we sent through something that didn't get sorted out, we're going to be in some trouble. Let me just reset the light so we have light today. Now, what I want to do here is I just want to make a very simple, very simple kind of clock. And this is one way that you can make an item elevator that only does a tick for every item that's in there. This one uses 2 comparators. So you face the comparators like that, put a couple of bricks down, you put a redstone dust here, a redstone dust here, no, not a redstone dust there, 1 here, set that to negative mode, and then you put in your repeater right there. Now what that's going to do is anything that shows up in this hopper, if we put 2 comparators there, there's now 2 comparators up here, and they're not in there anymore. So to finish that off, I guess what we could do is just show one way to wire this. I will do it this way. What we want to do is we want to put a brick here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 there. So if we had a comparator reading the contents of the chest, we could have that going into a brick. Actually, we can shorten that a little bit by doing it this way. Go sideways. And then we'll put 1 repeater there, and then we can just draw a line of redstone out to here. And once that's done, if there's anything in this chest, you can see that light will come on. So the nice thing here is now we can come over to this side. We can say, let's say we had some half slabs, maybe not 64. That might be too many to wait for. But if we put in 16 half slabs, they're going to start filtering through the system. The lights will blink, and nothing's going to go into either of these. Oh, that's the dropper. And right now you can see they're filtering in here. And once we get 16, it'll all be done. Then really it's just a question of how you want to decorate. There you go. Now the whole machine's done. So I didn't put... let's just grab one of those. I didn't put a sticky piston there. And then another button right there. And that's just so that you can walk up, push the button, break the shulker box, take it with you. But now it's just a case of, how you want to make it look when it's all done. You can dress this up any way you want. It's all up to you. I just did it the way I did it because, well, that's the way I did it. To each his own, as they say. So here we go. We're just going to continue dropping a couple of bricks around. You can't put a brick that's a full brick on top of a chest because it won't let you, get items into the chest. Just try to make this look a little nicer here. We do have a little bit sticking out past the edge here, but if you have that right in the corner, it'll still look good. And any way that you want to have these things, working with a half slab, you can use an upside down stair to make it look like it's a full block. A nice way to do that is just to come to the front, drop it down like that, drop it down like that, and now, if everything was purple, it would all look good. Another thing you can do is just use something like a sea lantern, because sea lanterns are not solid blocks. A seer lantern. No, a sea lantern. So yeah, you could put a sea lantern there, and it would do the same thing. Just cover it up, make a little bit of light, and then the rest of everything can just be covered up however you want. So that right there, guys, is just a little mini version. I'm gonna put some more bricks here just to sort of even that up and make it look pretty even. But there you go. There's a mini Shulk-a-sorter, and it all works. It works great. It's a nice little machine to have. Maybe not the most useful thing in Minecraft ever, but it's all mine. I designed it. I like it. I think it works great. And at some point, I'm going to put one of these in my single-player world because, maybe at a base where I go by and need to have just a couple of shulker boxes that I don't really want to have to take the time to put things into. Because that's what this is good for. It's just good for lazy people that don't want to have to walk up to each shulker box individually and put everything down. So there you go, guys. That is the Shulk-a-sorter. This is version 1. I'm sure I'll come up with version 2 at some point, but that's just a little mini version of a Shulk-a-sorter. You can see the redstone's fairly compact and not too terribly hard to follow. It's certainly easy to build if you build it just module by module. And once again, you could put down 4 modules here, turn a corner, have another 4 modules, turn a corner, and have another 4 modules. And it's still going to work just fine because if you look here, there's no connection from this initial clock to any of the rest of the portions of it. So it's a very, very easy machine to build, nice to have around. And, as you can see from the example I have way over there, because I just ran for it. It's not really a different creative world. It's the same world. I just ran far away. I'll be honest. But there you go, guys. That's that. And, once again, if you prefer to have these redstone lamps down here, it's all up to you. You can put them there. Everything works just the same. There's 16 of those in. It'll blink, blink, blink. And now those redstone are going in here. The only thing you have to be careful of is not to break it, because then any items that are flowing through the system will just continually get spat out wherever you didn't have your shulker box. So that's it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I hope that this is something that is good for you, good to use in the world. I think it's a neat little design, even if not completely amazing. But that's it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.